The atmosphere around Ibrox has been buzzing in recent days, and it is not just because of the results on the pitch. Cyril Dessers has just dropped a line that has supporters leaning in, trying to read between the words and wondering exactly what it means for his future in Glasgow. The striker, who delivered a solid and productive season in the blue shirt, has spoken in a way that feels like more than just casual conversation. With the transfer window wide open and speculation swirling about who might be coming in or heading out, his timing could not have been more intriguing. Rangers fans are hungry for clarity, and Dessers might just have given them a taste of it, even if he did not serve the full meal. Before diving into that exchange, it is worth noting the kind of roller coaster fortnight it has been for the club and its supporters as the Russell Martin era begins to take shape. In European action, Rangers could hardly have asked for a better start, sweeping aside Czech side Victoria Plzeň with a 3-0 victory in the first leg of their Champions League qualifier. It was a result that felt like a deep breath after the frustrating draw away at Fir Park the previous weekend. The midweek display was sharp, confident, and crucially full of promise from the new faces brought in over the summer. Oliver Antman showed flashes of creativity. Nessa Joe Rothwell brought a composed edge to midfield. Lyle Cameron impressed with his energy, and JD Gassama offered a glimpse of his raw pace and intent. It was the kind of collective performance that gives a manager optimism, but also one that reinforces the reality that there is still work to be done to balance the squad. Balancing, of course, often means moving players out as much as bringing them in. One of the most talked about departures involves Ridvan Yilmaz, the Turkish left-back, who joined Rangers in 2022 from Besiktas for a fee in the region of £5.3 million. It was a signing that at the time seemed to signal ambition, but injuries in consistent form and questions about how his style fits into the physical demands of Scottish football have clouded his tenure. In recent weeks, whispers have turned into loud suggestions that his time at Ibrox is all but over. Even former Rangers players have weighed in, with some arguing the club should accept any reasonable fee just to move him on. Under Martin, the writing has been on the wall for Yilmaz. The arrival of Max Aarons, a natural right-back, who has still been preferred on the left, and the presence of Jefte starting ahead of him in Europe both point to Yilmaz being third choice. For a player who once looked set to nail down the position, it is a swift fall. It is a reminder of how quickly things can change in football. Yilmaz had moments under previous management where he looked like he could be the answer at left back, but standing at just 5 feet 9 inches, the physical battles of the Scottish Premiership have often worked against him. Now, as reports suggest a possible return to Besiktas within the next week, his name will likely be filed under the category of signings that never quite lived up to their billing. Injuries and patchy form have a way of tarnishing legacies, and for Yilmaz, this chapter looks set to close sooner rather than later. But Yilmaz is not the only name on the potential exit list. Hamza Garni and Jose Cifuentes are also believed to be heading for the door as Martin continues reshaping his squad. It is all part of the broader plan to create a group that fits his vision, one that is leaner, hungrier, and perhaps more adaptable to the demands of the season ahead. Now about Dessers. His name has been linked with interest from abroad, and the noise around him reached a point where Russell Martin even confirmed he was the only player so far to attract an official bid this summer. The offer, however, fell short of Rangers' valuation, and the club turned it down. Still, in the world of football where conversations can change overnight, fans were understandably eager to hear straight from the man himself. That moment came after Wednesday night's European win. As Dessers made his way out of Ibrox, stopping to sign autographs for waiting supporters, one fan took the chance to ask directly, "Are you staying or going?" Dessers, fresh from scoring a penalty in the match, smiled and replied, "Looks like I'm staying, huh? I'm here today." The exchange, captured on TikTok, quickly made the rounds. It was casual, almost offhand, but for many Rangers supporters, it was the reassurance they had been craving. Dessers has never hidden his affection for the club. He still has 2 years left on his contract and has spoken before about how happy he is in Glasgow. He knows, as any striker does, that scoring goals will inevitably draw interest from elsewhere, and he has acknowledged hearing about links to clubs such as Olympiacos, even if he insists he knows nothing concrete. His dream destinations for the end of his career are far more exotic. Japan, the United States, South Africa, or Nigeria all get a mention. But for now, his focus remains firmly on Rangers. Martin himself has singled him out for praise pointing to his professionalism and work rate even amid transfer speculation. After the 1-0 draw with Motherwell on the opening day, the manager highlighted how Dessers ran himself into the ground despite the uncertainty calling on other players to follow his example. Meanwhile, there's another transfer saga unfolding in the background, this one involving defender Ben Davies and a proposed move to Birmingham City. It is the kind of deal that seems straightforward at the outset, with a broad agreement reportedly in place weeks ago. Yet as often happens, the devil is in the details. Rangers had hoped for a permanent transfer, while Birmingham initially explored another loan with an option to buy. Negotiations have since stalled, bogged down by disagreements over structure, timing, and most importantly, money. Davies, signed from Liverpool in 2022 for around £4 million, was once seen as a key figure in the backline. But with just 12 months left on his deal and new signings pushing him further down the pecking order, the club is eager to move him on. Birmingham's reported offer of £700,000 falls well short of what Rangers want, and the player's £30,000 a week salary is proving a stumbling block. Rangers are unwilling to subsidize wages for another loan, determined instead to make a clean break. Davies has handled the uncertainty professionally, continuing to train with the squad, though his absence from most of pre-season action speaks volumes about his future under Martin. For the club, getting this and other outgoing deals finalized quickly is not just about squad planning, it is about financial clarity heading into the decisive stages of the window. And through it all, the Dessers question still hangs in the air. His relaxed, looks like I'm staying may not be an ironclad commitment, but it fits with the man's demeanor, focused on the next match, ready to work, and letting speculation swirl without letting it shake him. In the unpredictable landscape of football transfers, that might be the clearest sign Rangers fans get for now. While much of the spotlight has been fixed on Cyril Dessers and his coy remarks about staying put, the bigger picture at Rangers right now is one of change, tension, and the inevitable push and pull of a squad rebuild. Russell Martin has not been in the job long, but already his fingerprints are becoming clear. The high-intensity pressing game he favors demands players with energy, tactical discipline, and the ability to adapt quickly under pressure. That means no room for passengers, no matter their price tag or past reputation. This is not a case of trimming around the edges. It is a reshaping that could redefine the team's identity for the coming seasons. The fans, of course, see the headlines, the transfer links, the results, the names coming and going, but beneath that is a complex web of negotiations, compromises, hard decisions. The situation with Ridvan Yilmaz is a perfect example. Here is a player who arrived amid a wave of excitement, a young fullback with attacking flair and technical ability, someone who looked like he could bring a different dimension to the flank. But Scottish football can be an unforgiving environment, especially for defenders. This is physical, relentless, and often more about winning battles than showcasing skill. Yilmaz had glimpses where he looked up to the task, yet injuries disrupted his rhythm, and every time he seemed ready to cement his place, something pulled him back. Under Martin, the signals have been unambiguous. Selection decisions speak louder than words, and being leapfrogged by a right footer in his own position is about as clear a sign as you can get. It is not just about Yilmaz underperforming though. Football recruitment is part science, part gamble. Sometimes a player simply does not fit the tactical plan of a new manager. Martin wants fullbacks who can tuck into midfield when the team builds from the back, then explode forward to stretch play and attack. That demands a particular engine and spatial awareness, and perhaps Yilmaz does not tick all those boxes in Martin's view. So he looks set to head back to Turkey, likely for less than the club paid, a reminder that not every signing turns into a success story. Supporters have seen it before, and will see it again. At the other end of the spectrum, Dessers has found himself central to both the tactical and emotional core of the side. When a striker scores consistently and works relentlessly for the team, supporters tend to forgive a lot. His penalty against Victoria Pleasant was taken with composure, but more importantly, his overall performance reflected the sort of selflessness managers dream of. Even with speculation around his future, he has not let his intensity drop. Martin made a point of holding him up as an example to others. And in a dressing room undergoing so much change, that kind of leadership by example is invaluable. His off the cuff, looks like I'm staying remark after the game may have been delivered with a grin, but it also carried weight. It felt genuine in the way footballers sometimes manage to be when the cameras are not rolling and the microphones are not thrust in their faces. Still, the market does not pause because a player says he is happy. Clubs from abroad will continue to sniff around any forward in good form, and the financial realities of Scottish football mean every player has a price. For now, the rejected bid shows Rangers are holding firm, but a lot can happen in the final weeks of the window. Martin will be desperate to keep Desires not just for his goals, but for the stability his presence provides. Losing a figure like that late in the window would force the club into scrambling for a replacement, hardly ideal when Champions League qualifiers and early league fixtures are coming thick and fast. Speaking of departures, the Ben Davies saga drags on like a transfer window soap opera. What began as a seemingly simple deal with Birmingham City has twisted into something far more complicated. Rangers want a permanent transfer, a clean break, and a fee that at least softens the financial hit of his initial £4 million signing from Liverpool. Birmingham, meanwhile, appear reluctant to commit that kind of money, up front reportedly offering a figure less than a fifth of what Rangers paid. And even then looking for flexibility and structure. Add in Davies' $30,000 a week wages, and you have the kind of standoff that can kill a deal entirely. From the club's perspective, keeping him around on a salary like that when he is firmly out of the manager's plans makes little sense. From the player's side, taking a significant pay cut is hardly an attractive prospect, especially if he feels he can bide his time for a better offer. These sorts of situations can hang over a squad, creating uncertainty and draining focus. Martin will be aware of that, which is why he will want it resolved quickly one way or another. If Davies leaves, it frees up resources and a squad slot for another defensive addition, though with Max Aarons and Nessa Joe Rothwell already in the building. The immediate priority may be trimming rather than adding. While exits dominate much of the conversation, there's an undercurrent of excitement about how the team is beginning to gel. The 3-0 victory over Pleasant was not just a scoreline, it was a statement of intent. Ant-Man's creativity between the lines, Cameron's relentless pressing, and Gassama's bursts of pace gave a glimpse of what this new-look Rangers could become. Martin's style relies on coordinated movement, quick passing triangles, and a high defensive line that squeezes the pitch. It is a brave approach, one that leaves little room for passengers, but when executed well, it can overwhelm opponents. The question is whether the squad, once finalized, has the depth and fitness to sustain it across a long campaign. One thing is certain, the mood in the stands is always shaped by what happens off the pitch as much as on it. Fans have seen enough transfer windows to know that the last few weeks can bring both delight and disappointment in equal measure. They also know that keeping key players like Desires can sometimes be as important as any new signing. His rapport with the supporters was on full display in that TikTok clip. There was no grand speech, just a brief exchange that landed with the weight of reassurance. In football, those moments matter. They build trust and they give fans something to cling to when rumors threaten to unsettle the mood. Yet Martin's job is to keep emotions in check and decisions rooted in what will make the team stronger. Sentiment has its place, but it cannot dictate squad planning. He is juggling the need to maintain a winning team for now while shaping one that can thrive in the future. That is why the exits of players like Yilmaz, Garni, Cifuentes, and potentially Davies are so significant. They are not just about freeing up wages, but about creating a group that can carry out his game plan without compromise. As the window ticks towards its close, every press conference, every post-match interview, and every casual fan interaction will be dissected for clues. The reality, though, is that most of the real action happens behind closed doors, where deals rise and fall on the smallest details. Rangers supporters may wake up one morning to find a beloved player gone or a surprise signing unveiled. That is the nature of this period. Fluid, unpredictable, and for those invested, deeply addictive. For now, Dessa's smile and shrug are enough to keep spirits high, but the coming days will test how much of that optimism survives the push and pull of the market. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers. FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Speculation is swirling across the Scottish football landscape as whispers grow louder around the potential arrival of Mexican forward Carlos Vela at Rangers. The former Real Sociedad and LAFC star is reportedly eyeing a fresh chapter in his career, and Ibrox could well be his next destination. While there's been no official confirmation from either club, trusted sources close to the player suggest he has expressed a strong interest in joining the Glasgow Giants. VELA, known for his technical brilliance and creative flair, has allegedly been in advanced talks with Rangers over the past few weeks, with negotiations believed to be at a very sensitive stage. Rumors intensified after the player was spotted in London recently, sparking suggestions that a visit to Glasgow may have quietly taken place. With Rangers looking to add experience and depth to their attacking options, especially ahead of a potentially grueling European campaign, Vela's availability on a free transfer is being seen as a tempting proposition. Supporters have taken to social media in droves, sharing speculation and dissecting every cryptic hint, particularly after Vela followed the official Rangers Instagram account last weekend. While nothing is concrete yet, the mere suggestion of such a signing is sending ripples through Scottish football. Should Carlos Vela indeed choose to make Ibrox his new home, it would mark one of the most high-profile arrivals in recent Scottish football history. Vela, now 36, is still considered a game-changer, and his presence would surely raise the bar for the entire Premiership. Though his age might raise eyebrows, reports indicate that he remains in excellent physical condition, maintaining sharpness and fitness levels that defy his years. Many in football circles believe the Mexican could bring a different dimension to Rangers' front line, offering both leadership and a creative spark that's arguably been missing since the departure of Alfredo Morelos. Sources close to the club hint that manager Philippe Clement is keen to add a player with Vela's pedigree to help guide younger talents such as Rabbi Matondo and Ross McCausland. Whether Vela would start week in and week out or be used more as an impact player off the bench remains unclear, but his sheer presence in the dressing room would undoubtedly command respect. The possibility of him donning the famous blue shirt has got fans dreaming, especially with Celtic's dominance under pressure and a title race that promises to go to the wire this season, despite the lack of official word from either camp. Insiders claim that discussions between Vela's representatives and Rangers have been ongoing for several months. The holdup, according to reports, seems to stem from financial structuring and image rights, always a complex issue with players of Vela's stature. Having spent years in Major League Soccer, where off-field marketing plays a huge role, this player is believed to be seeking certain guarantees that align with his brand value. Nevertheless, there is a growing belief that compromises are being made on both sides to reach an agreement. Adding fuel to the fire, a prominent Mexican journalist recently tweeted that Vela had already turned down offers from clubs in Saudi Arabia and Turkey in favor of what he termed a culturally rich and historic European club. The quote was quickly linked to Rangers, whose status and legacy remain one of the biggest draws in European football. For many fans, the pieces of the puzzle are beginning to fit. While skepticism remains, particularly given Vela's previously stated disinterest in cold weather cities, some now suggest that the lure of European nights at Ibrox might just have swayed his thinking. Carlos Vela's potential arrival would undoubtedly make waves not just in Scotland, but across the wider European football community. It would signal Rangers' ambition to attract marquee names and compete at a higher level once more, particularly as they continue to rebuild after several inconsistent campaigns. Some pundits, however, remain cautious, pointing out Vela's inconsistent form in his final MLS season and his long-standing aversion to the European football grind. Others argue that his vision, passing range, and big match temperament make him an ideal addition, especially in tightly contested Old Firm, derbies where moments of magic often decide the outcome. The timing of the rumor is also noteworthy, coming just as Rangers prepare for a decisive Champions League qualifier. It has led to suggestions that the club might be using Vela's name to energize the fan base ahead of the critical tie. Still, If the speculation proves accurate and the Mexican forward does sign, it could provide a significant psychological boost to both squad and supporters. After all, few players of VELA's caliber have graced the Scottish game in recent years, and his global profile could elevate Rangers' visibility worldwide. As with all transfer sagas, it's wise to take developments with a pinch of salt until ink meets paper. Yet this particular rumor has a certain gravity that's difficult to ignore. The sheer volume of noise surrounding VELA and Rangers, combined with subtle social media activity, cryptic interviews, and apparent travel movements, suggests that where there's smoke, there might indeed be fire. The next few days could prove pivotal. If a deal is struck, it may not only ignite excitement around Ibrox, but also shift the balance of power in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic, no doubt, will be watching developments closely, knowing full well what a player like Carlos Vela could bring to their rivals. In a league often criticized for lacking international star power, Vela's inclusion would inject glamour and intrigue, perhaps even paving the way for other established names to consider a move north. For now, fans can only speculate, share theories, and hope that this tantalizing rumor turns into a reality. Until then, the blue half of Glasgow waits, imagines and dreams of a Mexican maestro lighting up the Govan skyline. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.